Hello everyone and welcome to my Lego room. I'm TJ the Brickwright and today is a very exciting day because it's my first day back in the Lego room and so we've got some fun stuff to talk about, right? I haven't done anything since Brick Slopes and Fan X really, at least as far as videos go. A lot of you know that. I have not been here. It's very good to be back. I'm actually very excited to be here and to be sharing this new information with you because today we are beginning our last contest of the year 2023, and it has to do with our other two contests as well. And this contest is going to be a blast because it is, man, I don't know how else to, I was trying to think of ways to like tease you guys and stuff, but I can't do it. All right, we're building tanks. We are building New Republic tanks. That is what we are going to do. You can use inspiration from all over Star Wars. I don't want to see any existing tanks, any existing vehicles that already are part of Star Wars canon. But we can go ahead and use concept art for inspiration. You can even build evolved versions of those ships if you think that you have a really good take on what you could do to change it. And you can also use non-Star Wars concept art that I've seen a ton of custom Star Wars tank vehicles that people have designed over the years. I know DeviantArt has a ton of them on their website that you can look through, as well as ArtStation and all the different art upload sites. But we don't want you to copy those things directly. I don't want this just to be a contest and who can find the coolest tank and rebuild it, which apparently has been done sometimes in the past with our other contests. So our goal in this one is to build a tank that can be inspired by something, but I want to see your twist on it. I want to see your take and things that you think could have been better on it and incorporate that into your build. But there are a bunch of other things that we're going to be talking about here that will need to be addressed. So, first of all, the dates. The contest starts today, October 14th. It will end on December 9th, which is just a couple weeks after Thanksgiving. There's a couple reasons I'm doing this. Hopefully everybody can get their Bricklink orders in if you need to order parts. But I highly recommend also just trying to use what you have around, because that is really, when it comes to Lego builds, the mother of invention is restriction. And the more I build, the more I'm realizing that is 100% the case. So the contest ends on December 9th, which is a Saturday. You'll have until the end of the day to do that. The voting will start the next week on December 16th, and then it will all be concluded. I will tally up the votes, and the winner will be announced on December 23rd, right before Christmas. It'll be a Christmas present to whoever ends up winning the actual contest. I'm giving myself another week again to get all of the entries compiled, like we've done before, so I can do a little bit longer video and go through everything and go through each of the entries and read through some of their backstory. So now we get into more nitty-gritty about what your tank needs to be. It must be a physical build. No digital mocs on this one, as I talked about with the Bricklink orders. If you need to get those in, hopefully you can do it a little bit before Thanksgiving. And then you have the whole after Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving, I should say. You have all that time getting towards the holidays to, instead of buying pieces for your entry, buying presents for your family, which would be awesome. But again, I highly recommend just building from what you've got. Okay, there are a few things that we're going to have to talk about here on what the tank is going to actually be. So there's a heated debate right now about what constitutes a tank in Star Wars. And one of the things that is hotly contested is whether or not a walker is a tank. And I'm going to definitively come out and put my foot down, and I will declare for everyone to know that for this contest, it's not a walker. Now the debate rages on elsewhere, and even some Star Wars vehicles that are walkers are actually called tanks, which is interesting. But we're going to stick with the traditional version of what tanks can be. So we have kind of like this tank right here, which is the modified, the turreted version of the tank from Rogue One. This is a tank. There are two versions of this tank. There's a repulsor lift version and a tracked version. So very, just has treads on the inside like a normal tank. Those are both going to be options that we will allow for the contest. Either treaded or repulsor, or, as in the case of the clone turbo tank or our BB tank, a wheel mechanism is also allowed. If you want to throw a sphere on there, I will also allow that as well. But there's not a lot of spheres. So, man, I still really love these things. These are such cool things. I love them. All right. So those are both versions. Those are some tank versions that we've seen before. For those of you who have been here before, you may have seen my Imperial crawler tank modification and upgrade. I'm missing one of the cannons on the top right now. Legroom is a little bit of a mess right now after both Brick Slopes and Fan X, where we displayed the Imperial Command Cruiser. So that is a tracked vehicle, so it's got those treads on it. So those are the options: hover, wheel, and tread. No walkers. I do plan on having a walker contest later, but that is not what we're doing today. All right. There are going to be a couple other features that are required for the build. This tank needs to be the main battle tank for the New Republic. So we're not looking for like a light armor personnel carrier, like an APC kind of thing. We are looking specifically for a fighting vehicle that the New Republic can use to fend off Imperial ambushes or to defend towns from pirates or raiders or whatever they may come across that needs to be land-based. Okay. It needs to be a multi-role vehicle, not designed for a specific purpose. It will need to have decent armor, speed, and firepower to be the main tank that the New Republic uses. They basically need to be able to put it anywhere in the galaxy, if at all possible. A lot of you may be leaning towards a hover tank in that regards, but obviously I've already said wheels, treads, they can go most places. So we're going to go ahead and allow that either way. I mean, I'll throw this out there, but please don't take it as something you have to do. You could also make it interchangeable with wheels and treads and repulsor lifts, but again, not required in any way, shape, or form. Usually I would always recommend picking one of those and just going with it. All right. Now the last required feature of your tank. Whew. This is going to be the hard one, and this is going to be one that may take a little bit of explanation for everybody. But this is one of the things about this contest that I have been beating around for months, trying to determine if this is something we were going to include, and we are going to include it. And that is that your tank needs to be able to be lifted by this. Those of you who are familiar with my work know that this is the BAAD, the Battlefield Aerial Assault Dropship. And this is the advanced version, which has the recon disc on top. So this particular ship is a dropship, and it has been able to carry different tanks in the past, most notably the Clone Republic tank from way back in the day. This can actually fit up on here, and when it comes down, I just flip that thing and it'll drop down. It's pretty cool. It has that little Technic attachment that allows the tank to be mounted to the dropship carrier. And I know the big question is, how the heck am I supposed to make a ship that can attach to that? And I'm going to show you. There's a couple ways you can do this. The adapter for that tank, I have the instructions for already. The biggest issue with this tank, though, is that when you attach it, it does that. It dangles. Unfortunately, there wasn't a way for me to be able to get it more centered so that it would hold it perfectly straight up and down. But yeah, stuff happens, and it holds it well enough when it's in there. So we just left it. So your ship will need to have something like that. Now, as far as how it's going to work, I will come close and I will show you the pieces that you can use and that you'll probably want to use. Okay, we're going to see if we can trick it to focus. Okay, so you've got this Technic piece, which I actually don't know what it's called. I really should have looked that up. Oops. But if you go to my Rubricable page that has the tank adapter on it, it'll have this piece, actually both of these, all these pieces, as part of the parts list. So you can look up what parts they are right there. I'll try to have a link down in the description for that. So you have this top piece, a single 2-wide axle, and then when you have this other piece here, and it really just does not want to focus on that, does it? Whoop. So I'm holding that lower piece. It's a 3 stud long, 3-pin long piece. Now, when it's mounted into the ship, you cannot have anything that sticks above that very bottom hole. That bottom hole is the highest that you can attach something. So what I would probably recommend is that you have this be able to like fold down or fall back into the ship, and something you can pop up and then attach in. But again, you cannot have anything in that bottom hole. That is your parameters. I would also ask that you put this thing directly in the middle of the ship if you can. Or if this actually locks in place, so when you have it up and ready to attach, it's holding itself in place, it doesn't flop around at all, then you wouldn't necessarily have to have it perfectly centered, because the ship will actually put 2 bars through it, through those top holes, put 2 bars through it, and we'll actually be able to hold it pretty level on the ship if this is a static thing. So for instance, if you have it slide up and it has a shaft that goes down into the ship quite a ways, then there's a really good chance that I'll be able to land the ship, stick the bars through there, and then lift it up, and because it's centered and it's got a longer bar in there, it'll actually help keep it level, so it wouldn't have to be perfectly centered. Okay? Clear? Clear as mud? I hope so. Well, I hope it's a little clearer than mud, but there you go. That's the other attachment. All right, now, how do you enter the contest? Okay, you're going to send your top 5 pictures to tjscontests@gmail.com, which is the same that we've done in previous contests. And you can go ahead and send any descriptions or comments on your design that you would like to include in your entry as well. Now, however, I'm going to place a restriction on the backstories. I had some people comment and send me messages saying that they were rather upset that I didn't read their entire backstory. Well, some of you sent backstories that were 5, 6, and 12 pages long. I'm not going to read that in a video where I'm trying to give everybody an equal amount of time. So I'm going to limit it and say if you want a backstory, you're going to have to shorten it. You're going to have to build an abridged version, and it cannot be bigger than 1 page. Okay. Now, if you try to do the teeny tiny font and single spaced and try to break those rules of the break the spirit of that rule, I will abridge your backstory down to match a time length with the other entries. Okay. So just when you pull up your Word document or whatever text document you use, and it automatically comes up with a font size and everything and a spacing size, just use the default. Okay. Don't try to manipulate it. If you do have more than that, if you have more pages, if you are the winner, I will go through and read the entire thing. That's fine. But I am going to abridge everything down if it is longer than that. So if you want to do like a short summary and then a just in case I win summary, I may actually start sharing those longer summaries with, maybe not with everybody, but maybe with my patrons. Those guys are awesome. I love my patrons. They're so helpful, and they've stuck with me for so long. Thank you, patrons. You are amazing. So again, we're going to limit it to 1 page for the backstories so that I don't have to spend forever reading pages and pages and pages of backstory and stats. I've got to shorten it down. I'm sorry. I know everybody wants me to read their entire thing, and I do actually read it myself so that I can abridge it down and try to hit the key points and the important stuff. But I really apologize to those who think that they've been shortchanged in the past. That has never been my intention. And I'm doing the best that I can, but I need you to meet me halfway. Okay? It's perfect. All right. Now, lastly, let's go for the prizes. We're actually going to stick with the same stuff that we've done previously. For the first and second place will both receive a $25 gift card. The Parseval returning winners bracket of the contest, which will exist in this New Republic tank contest, will be given a $25 gift card. So the winner of the Parseval contest gets a $25 gift card. First and second place in this contest will also be transferred from the generic contest to the Parseval bracket going forward. And then the last $25 gift card will be given to a random participant in the contest who did not already win. And that includes those in the Parseval contest bracket. Unless you guys convince me otherwise. But that seemed like it worked out pretty well last time. All right. Well, that's it, guys. I think that's it. We talked about tanks. If you want to look up some really awesome tank information and ideas behind what a good tank is in science fiction, there's a really cool there's some really cool videos by both the YouTube channel Space Doc and the Templin Institute. They are long videos. They can get very long. They can get into hours-long videos, but they're very informative and have some pretty good ideas. Some things I disagree with. I don't agree with everything they say, especially about hover tanks. They say those are not smart, but I love hover tanks, and I think they're cool. And Star Wars has a lot of hover tanks. Anyway, so you're welcome to look at YouTube videos, do some research behind what makes a good sci-fi tank. Watch videos and research the existing tanks in Star Wars. You have the you have the ones that we've shown here. There's a huge list of tanks. There's the AAT that I didn't show here. There's the clone turbo tank that we didn't show but we mentioned. There's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do and you can learn about tanks in Star Wars. And I have literally spent the last 2-3 weeks listening to a ton of videos while I'm at work or whenever I'm doing something else, just going over all the different cool things that exist in Star Wars and that exist in science fiction tank lore. So I highly recommend doing some research and working on your design and seeing if you can fix some of the issues that they may have brought up during those particular videos or articles or flaws that you see as being flaws in the Star Wars tanks that already exist. These are great ways to be inspired. Yeah, I think we're done. I think that's everything. I think we covered it. You guys know where to send in the contest. You know what to send. You know what the requirements are. It needs to be a physical build. It's got to be able to be carried by that thing. There are also some length restrictions and not necessarily height restrictions other than you can't have anything above that one pin. But other than that, I don't think a lot of you are going to reach that point where it will be too long. But if you have a question about it, send me a message and I'll let you know what the parameters are and how long the ship can be, how long your tank can be. But honestly, it can be huge. It can be pretty long. That thing was designed to be able to carry stuff that's really long because there's actually 2 different sections that it can attach to. It's one of the reasons I spent a lot of time designing that ship so that it could carry a lot of different things. All right. I think that's it. I know this is like the 3rd time I've said that. I went over everything that I had to talk about. I talked about each of the different points. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being patient with me while I get my life in the background together, while I build new ships. There's actually one thing that I want to do. The biggest reason I want you to make it compatible with the BAAD is because I have been working on building my own versions of each of the New Republic ships that have come out and won the contests. And this is my version of the New Republic fighter. There are a lot of differences. Obviously, the color is a main one. But for those of you who may want to know, I built this with parts that I had on my own. These are parts from my collection. I didn't have to go buy anything. I did have to take apart a couple of ships that I had, but I was able to put it together and build a reasonable facsimile of the winner of that contest. So my plan is to build each of the New Republic ships, at least my own versions of them. I know the designer will definitely be saying, "Hey, you didn't do that. Hey, you changed that. Hey, you changed this." But you know, like with everything, I love to make it my own. So my plan is to take the winner of the New Republic tank contest, build that tank myself, and then be able to carry it with the BAAD and possibly make a really fun display using that tank. So that's the hope. That's the dream. I may just build one of them and just have it in my collection and just have it on the shelf, but I would love to be able to build my own version of it. So thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for sticking around with me. I know this was a really long video, but it's been a long time and I had a lot to talk about with you. So thanks for sticking around. I hope it wasn't a complete waste of time. And I will see you next time in the Lego room. And until then, play well. Bye. Gotta click the button.